In the last video, we captured a name, a color, and a number, and displayed that information back to the screen. In this video, we're going to validate that data. We're going to set up some very simple validation rules. The first one being around the name. We don't want the name to be blank. Likewise, we don't want the color to be blank. And the number, we don't want that to be any greater than 500. So without further ado, let's get on with it. And here we are back in the code from last time. I've made some changes in here just to tidy the code up a bit. I've split things out and renumbered some of the lines just to make it a little bit easier for the editing we're going to do next. Now, you don't need line numbers in Amos, but I'm using them. I mean, Amos treats them as labels effectively at this stage. So we'll keep them in here because it just helps you see and gives a bit of a flow to the code so you can see the order of things a little bit better. Right, so we've got our code here. So quick recap then on what it did from last time. So if I run this, so we enter our name, favorite color, and give it a number, and it prints that information out on the screen. All good. Right, so let's get in now and add some validation code, some code that will check the data that we're keying in to make sure it is what we want. So in order to facilitate the validation, we're going to make use of something in Amos called procedures. So a procedure is a piece of code separate, pretty much separate to the main body of code, where we can pass a value in, have some code check that value, and then return us a result value back to the main body of code so we can see that that code has been validated and is working okay. So without further ado, let's go. So our first procedure is defined by the procedure command, and we're going to call this check string, and we're going to allow it to receive two parameters. So two items from the main body of code will come in here. So the first value will be string and the second value will be string, and I'll explain these in a moment. So we close off the procedure with just gotta check my notes, end proc command, and we're going to return a value called result string. Right, so you'll notice I haven't put line numbers on these because we don't need it, because the label effectively is the name of the procedure. So the first thing we're going to do in here is the result that we pass back. We're going to assume that that is a fail straight away. Okay, and then we're going to check. So our first bit of validation is we don't want the value that's passed into this procedure to be blank. It has to contain some text, so we don't want it to be blank. So let's say we don't want string to be blank. So if we say if string is blank, then what we want to do is we want to pass back a value in result string, because we will use this value to display a message on the screen to the user. So we'll do result string equals string. I'll explain string in a minute. Plus, and then we'll put in cannot be blank, close quotes, and then we'll do an else, and then if then we'll do result string equals pass, and then we'll end if. Right, so with that code in there, a little bit of Amos magic. If I press F3 now, that will indent all of that. And let me just tidy up here. Right, so what's happening is check string receives two values. The first one is string, and string is the value that we've keyed in to the screen. So that is our text that we've typed in. Then string is going to be the name of the field on the screen as it shows back to the user. So if we're checking our name, when I type in yawning will appear in string, and I'll say name in quotes will appear here in string. So the message that will go back will be name cannot be blank. when you see this running, it'll make a bit more sense. Result string is what gets passed back to the calling piece of code. So let's go up now and add a call in to this procedure to do the validation. Okay, here we are back at the line in the main body of code where the input command is for us to enter our name. So I'm going to do a line 70 now, and we're going to call that procedure, and we're going to pass it name string because that's the value that we've captured from the screen, and also the name of the field, the name of the field that we're capturing. So in this case it's name, and we'll do that. So brilliant. Now we know that check string will do some validation, some code checking on that string, on name string, and pass a result back. Now that result comes back and we need to check the value of that. So in AMOS Pro, that result that comes back is known as param $. So param $, even though we called it result string, AMOS Pro just knows that as param $. So what we're going to say, if param $, is not equal to a pass, so in other words if it's a fail, then we're going to move our cursor on the screen to line 1 across, so to column 1 across, line 3 down. We're going to change the color of our pen to red, and we're going to print param string, and then we're going to go to go back to line 50, yep, and 120 end if. Go up here, put my cursor here, press F3, that'll do a nice bit of indenting. Right, so what is happening here is, on this line we key in our name, we take that value that's stored in name $, name string, and we pass it into our check string procedure. We also pass in the name of the field, which in this case is name. We check the value that comes back, so our result string from the procedure comes back as param $. In the main line of code. That's what we need to check. If it's not a pass, we move our pen position on the screen. We print the value of param string, so whatever that message is that's been passed back. And because it's an error, we want to keep on trying to get the user to enter their name until it is correct, until there's a value in there. So we say go to line 50, which will take us all the way back up here, and we'll start again. And then we end if, and that's it. So we'll save that quickly, and then we'll test it. Okay, quickly, just before I test this, we need to add another piece of code in here. So this line here is what this is saying to us when we start off. When we go to do the input statement, that's the position that it's going to print that at, but we need to make sure that the pen is color 2, so in white in this instance. So that's all good, and yep, that should be good. Right, let's run this. So F1 to run. So what's my name? So what we're testing is to make sure that someone enters something. So if I just press enter, I get the message. Name cannot be blank. Look at that. That's brilliant. So now if I put in a name, message goes away and it moves me on to the next piece of code. That's fantastic. Now, because I don't have any validation on the color field, it'll let me enter it. And I've got no validation on the number, so it will just let me press enter again. And then the program ends because it's just allowing me to enter anything. Cool potatoes. Right. Okay, so let's get some validation in for the color field now. So this is where you're now going to see the magic of procedures, because we're going to use exactly the same procedure that we just called for the name, because all it is, it's taking a string value and checking to see if there's any data in it. It doesn't really care where that value has come from. So if I now do line 180, and what we'll do is call, check string again, and this time we're going to pass in C string, and we're going to pass in color. because that's the name of the field that we want the error message to relate to when it comes back. And now pretty much it's the same thing that we did last time. So we just need to do adding in the check. So if param dollar not equal to pass, oops, 200. Okay, 1,4. Don't forget we need to do line 4 now because we've come down the screen another line. Pen 4. So to change the ink color to red. So now we need to do is print param dollar. And we're going to go 220, go to, and now we need to start this routine again. So we're going to go up to line 165. So go to 165, and oh, I've run out of line numbers. Let's just quickly do 225. And if, go up here, press F3, that all indents. Also, what I need to do up here is set my pen to 2 so it's white. And the reason I do that is because at this point, if an error message is thrown, the ink color is changed to red. So when it comes back up here, it'll just print this line in red as well. You can test it if you like by just removing this. But if I set it to white, then it will always be correct. So let's run that by pressing F1. So we know that if I just press return on the name, it actually needs something. So let's do that. Now, favorite colors, test it. Look at that. Color cannot be blank, although we've got a bit of an error here. It's actually dumped that. I know what's wrong. I know what's wrong. Let's just Control C. Control C on the Amiga will break the code and take us back in to the listings. So let me just correct that quickly. Okay, so on this line 165, what I needed to do was actually tell it that it's printing the what is your favorite color text at position 1,3, because I want to print my error message at position 1,4. So when it comes back up here, it goes back to position 1,3 again to print that. So let's test that. So let me give it a name there. And now if I press enter, it throws me the error message, quite comfortably saying color cannot be blank. Give it a color, and then we go on to the next line. Fantastic, that's all working a treat. So as we go through this code, don't forget to make regular saves. So if you press left Amiga and S, it will save your code. Now I need to admit to something. I made a mistake in the last bit. So what we need to do with this number, if I press Control and right arrow, that takes me to the end of this line. I've defined this as a real number and not really an integer. So n hash will allow me to put in a number like 1.25, 3.82, something like that. I just want whole numbers, so I need to get rid of that hash there. So this just becomes n. I need to also make the change down here. So if I go here and just change that back, save that. Good. Okay, so now let's put in a procedure for validating the number. Back down to the bottom of our code then, where we defined our last procedure. As you can see, there it is in all its glory. If you put your cursor over it and press F9, Amos compresses that code down, so it's just one line. It only does it on procedures, but when you've got a lot of them, it's quite easy to collapse them, so you've got a bit more space on the screen. So there we go. Right, now you know that. Let's put in a new procedure now to check our number. So what we're going to do is have procedure check num val. Once again, we're going to accept two values coming in here: the actual number and the name of the field to which it relates. So the beauty, I've typed all that in lowercase, but when I press return, AMOS Pro dumps that up to uppercase. So let's just end proc, and I'm not going to use result string this time. I'm going to call my field n result string. Okay, good. So in here, Let's start off. N result string equal fail. So the only validation we're going to put in here is that the number cannot be a value greater than 500. It's just an arbitrary value. We can change this to whatever we like, but I just want to show the validation working. So we're going to do if n is greater than 500, n result string equals. Now remember, so we're setting up the message here to go back to the main line of code. So f string plus cannot be greater than 500, else n result string equal parse, and if then I press F3 to indent all of that, make it look nice and tidy. So that's our piece of code for that. Now all I need to do is make the call to that after a numeric value has been entered. So we're back up to the line where we capture that value, that numeric value. So let's put in a line of code to call our procedure, check num val, and we're going to pass in n, comma, number. Okay, you know what's coming here, don't you? So we're just going to check if the value coming back, param dollar, is not equal to parse. If not equal to parse, now we need to locate, move our cursor 1,5, set it to red, and we're going to do print param dollar 290, where we're going to go to line 230, and we'll end if, oh no we won't, so we're going to do something different here. This time we're going to do something different. Actually, I'll show you what we'll do quickly. We'll do line 300 end if. Okay, go up here, press F3 to indent. Up here I need to set this to position 4. Need to do my pen as 2. So this means that when we get the error here, when it comes back up, it's going to position the cursor to exactly the same line for what is your favorite number. It won't just keep printing it down the screen. Okay, so let's save that and let's test this. So so my number must not be more than 500. So let's give it 800. Ta-da! Look at that. If I enter 23, brilliant. So it's printed our data here, but we've still got this error message shown on the screen, so we need to get rid of that. It doesn't mean that there's an error now. It just that message is left as a hangover from when we did have an error. So what we're going to do is go here, and I'm just going to put a line in 295, and we'll just what we're going to do here, we're going to locate, no we're not, locate 1,5, and we're just going to print a load of blank spaces just to get rid of that. So they need to be exactly the same length as the error message, and our error message was, so we got number, so let's work out how long our error message was. Number was 1, 2, N-U-M-B-E-R, so that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So about 33 characters. So if I go here, and let's just print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. We'll give it 35. But the quick-witted amongst you would have noticed what I need to do is put an else statement in there. because this is what happens when something goes wrong. When it goes right, if param coming back is pass, we just need to wipe over any message that might be there. There's a tidier way of doing it, but for now this is quick and dirty, remember? So let's try this out. So favorite color pink this time, and so give it that number. So now if I give it number 10, there you go. It removes that error message and prints my data up here. Fantastic, that's all working. So that's pretty much it. We've put some very, very simple validation on our 3 input fields. Really fairly straightforward stuff. You know, a value gets keyed in, we check it against one condition, so the string can't be blank and the number can't be greater than 500, and we pass those errors back, and once they're corrected, the program carries on. So eventually we're going to do some more, well, actually in the next video we're going to start looking at how we save this data to disk. And now we've got our procedures in at the bottom of the program here. If I go back down here, let's expand that one. We can add extra validation into here. So for the number, we can actually say that it has to be a value between 0 and 500. The strings, maybe we might say, well, we don't want them to be any more than 25 characters long. We can add that in. But, you know, if you want to go ahead and try that, feel free. Like I said, this is quick and dirty coding, and this is some quick and dirty validation. So I'll just give you a brief heads up as to what might be coming next. Okay, that's it for now. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks ever so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video where we start to do some more exciting stuff with this amazing code. So until next time, take care and all the best.